Go.
All right, so here are our candy neurons. This one's the presynaptic neuron, and this one's the postsynaptic neuron. Right over here, we have dendrites and dendrite spines represented by Twizzlers and the nerds on them. Here we have the soma with the nucleus in the middle, represented by the lifesaver and the M&M in the middle. The nucleus controls the entire neuron, and it sends electrical impulses down the axon, which is represented by these gummy worms wrapped in fruit roll-ups, which is what is supposed to be the myelin sheath. And then the nodes of Ranvier are where there's gaps in the myelin sheath.
So over here, when the electrical impulse reaches the goes to the axon terminals, which contain these terminal buttons, as seen by the nerds over here. And these terminal buttons contain vesicles which carry neuron transmitters, which are essential to bring it to the postsynaptic neuron. And to do that, it has to go through a synapse or synapse gap, which is a passageway to the other neuron. And once the information is sent to the other neuron, it goes to the receptor sites. And yeah.
All right, so there's two states these neurons can be in: resting potential or action potential. Resting potential is when nothing's happening in here and no messages are being transmitted and everything's calm. And then action potential is when there's an electrical charge that travels down the axon, or when there's a change in the electrical charge of the neuron.
The all or none principle is once the electrical impulse reaches its threshold or a certain level of intensity, it fires and moves all the way down the axon without losing its intensity.
So once this electrical impulse reaches the terminal buttons, the information is sent to these neuron transmitters, which are basically in this type of vehicle that's called a vesicle. And what these do is that these vesicles carry these neuron transmitters across the synapse, which is a passageway for them basically, and they go to the receptor site of the postsynaptic neuron. And once the postsynaptic neuron receives the information from the carried neuron transmitter, it goes back to the postsynaptic neuron, the neuron transmitters. And this process is also known as reuptake.
And then depolarization is the process that makes neurons positive. And when an impulse raises the neuron's voltage, it opens up ion channels, so potassium ions flow out and sodium ions flow in.
So yeah, that's our neuron.